my TBR maybe hasn't grown. No, that's bad maths. Welcome to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm bringing you my December book haul. December felt like a very long month. I don't know if it's because of those last kind of 2 weeks before Christmas that always feel like they're dragging on, but anyway, it feels like an incredibly long time, and I think my book haul kind of reflects that. It's a big one. This is a 17 book haul. I have no real apologies or reasons. There were a lot of books this month and a lot of really good ones. So let's get to it. I have my laptop ready with my whole list open so I can just work through. First up, let's do NetGalley reads. First up, I have A Throne of Swans, which I've already read. This is by Catherine and Elizabeth Court. This comes out 9th of January from Hotkey Books. You can tell I've just filmed my wrap-up. This is about a young girl called Aderin, who's the protector of her realm after her father dies. Everyone in this realm who is a noble has the ability to transform into a bird, and her family transforms into swans because they're the royal family, but alas, since the death of her mother, she's been unable to transform. She ends up going to court and having to hide the fact that she can't transform, and there's a lot of romance going on, there's a lot of intrigue, there's a lot of plots and plans. I don't want to talk too much about this book because I've already talked about it in my wrap-up, and if you're interested you can go look at that, but this is a very good book. I would recommend. The next book on my list is The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.D. Parry. This comes out from Orbit on the 23rd of January. This is a book that I've already started. I'm about 20% in. This book follows two brothers, one of whom's called Charles, the other one whose name I can't remember, and Charles has the ability to pull characters out of books through literary analysis. It's really interesting so far. This is very much a book lover's book, and I will have more to tell you about it when it's finished. Some of these I don't even remember requesting, which is terrible. I should stop doing that. Next up, I have The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski. Rutkoski. This is out from Hodder and Stoughton on the 3rd of March 2020. An epic LGBTQ romance fantasy about learning to free ourselves from the lies others tell us and the lies we tell ourselves. You can see why I've requested it now. Where Nirim lives, crime abounds, a harsh tribunal rules, and society's pleasures are reserved for the High King. Life in the ward is grim and punishing. People of low status are forbidden from sampling sweets or wearing colours. You either follow the rules or pay a tithe and suffer the consequences. Nirim keeps her head down and a dangerous secret close to her chest, but then she encounters Id, a rakish traveller from far away who whispers rumours that the High Kith possess magic. Sid tempts... oh, his name's Sid. This is just a typo. Sid tempts Nirim to seek that magic for herself, but to do that, Nirim must surrender her old life. She must place her trust in this sly stranger who asks, above all, not to be trusted. This does sound really interesting. This isn't out till March, 3rd of March 2020, so it'll probably be in my February TBR. This sounds like an interesting book. I like LGBTQ fantasy, unsurprisingly. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next up, I have The Wolf's Call by Anthony Ryan. This is out 20th of February 2020, so another one that will be in my February TBR. This is book one of a new series called the Raven's Blade series. It's an action-packed fantasy epic set in his Raven Shadow universe. I've not read any of the Raven Shadow books, so we'll see. Valen al-Sorna is a living legend. It was his leadership that overthrew empires and his sacrifice that saved the unified realm from destruction. Now he lives a quiet life, his days of warfare behind him, yet whispers have spread across the sea of an army called the Steel Horde, led by a man who thinks himself a god. When Valen learns that Sharon, the woman he lost long ago, has fallen into the Horde's grasp, he resolves to confront this powerful new threat. To this end, he travels to the realms of the Merchant Kings, a strange land ruled by honour and intrigue. As the drums of war echo across kingdoms riven by conflict, Valen learns that there are some battles even he cannot hope to win. I've had some success with books like this kind of like, oh, I don't really want to fight anymore, but I will for my woman, or whatever. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're very, very bad. So this might be one that I will go in fully intending to DNF if I don't enjoy it, just because I'm fed up of getting completely stuck on these books that just aren't what I enjoy. For the moment, a fairly open mind. It could be really interesting. It could be a nice bit of a palate cleanser from some other books I'm reading. Who knows? We'll find out in February. Next up, I have Prosper's Demon by KJ Parker. This comes out from Tor in January, the 28th of January, in fact. This is a novella, which I'm very excited about. It's on my January TBR. This is about, I think, somebody exorcising demons and something about purity of people. It's a pitch dark, witty fantasy novella. Demonically possessed people. I think this looks really cool and a nice short win for January. I will let you know how it goes. Next up, I have The Four Profound Weaves by R.B. Lemberg. This is published on the 14th of September 2020, quite a while away, by Tachyon Publications. I will probably try and get to this before August of next year. It might be one to go in my book a day in June. We don't know. But this is: two transgender elders must learn to weave from death in order to defeat an evil ruler, a tyrant whose murderous rebellion women and horde who murders... He doesn't have murderous rebellion. A tyrant who murders rebellious women and hoards their bones and souls, in the first novella set in R.M. Lemberg's award-winning queer fantasy Birdverse universe. This sounds really cool and definitely been on my radar. I've seen a few people talk about this on Twitter. I may bump this up, especially if it's a novella. I can throw it in if it gets to like the end of the month and I'm done with a TBR. When has that ever happened? But you never know. The last of my NetGalley books I hauled is Belle Revolte, or Belle Revolt. There's no accent on the end of that. Maybe I've been saying that wrong. But this is by Lindsay Miller. This comes out from Sourcebooks Fire on the 1st of February 2020. This is by Lindsay Miller, who also wrote the Mask of Shadows series, which I have the second one on my shelf. I've read the first one. I haven't read the second one yet. I'll get to it. I promise. This is a YA book. Two young women must trade lives, work together to stay alive, and end a war caused by magic and greed before it kills thousands. I love two women swapping lives books, and I think this is going to be really, really good, and I will let you know by the end of this month. On to physical arcs. I only have two, and one of them I've already read. This is The Shadow Saint by Gareth Hanrahan. I must have hauled this in a previous video because I think I had it on NetGalley as well, but this was a physical copy sent to me by Orbit. This is very, very good. You can find out everything I thought about this in my wrap-up, which should already be up. Just think it's really good, really like the world building in this series. On to the arc that I have not read yet. This is A Queen in Hiding by Sarah Kozloff. This is the first book in the Nine Realms series, where one book will be releasing every single month. So we have A Queen in Hiding, The Queen Raiders, A Broken Queen, and then The Cerulean Queen, which is a very YA title. I'm looking forward to reading this. I don't know a huge amount what it's about. It felt very Red Queen-esque, but maybe more fantasy leaning. I think this is going to be really good. Thank you very much, Dodor, for sending this to me. Right, now we're on to the more problematic pile, which is my own TBR, which has grown, given that I only read 2 books from my own TBR last month, for it to have grown by 6 books is a little bit intense. Almost all of these were gifts. I only bought one of these. So these were gifts from my very kind friends. 2 of these were sent to me by Justine over at I Should Read That, who's an amazing booktuber. If you don't already watch her videos, you entirely should, and I will link her below. First, she sent me Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. So this is the second book in her series that started with City of Ghosts. Tunnel of Bones came out earlier this year, and I just never got around to ordering a copy. So I added it to my wish list in the hope that somebody would purchase it for me, and they did. So yes, I'm looking forward to this. This is where the first book, Cassidy Blake, was in Edinburgh and kind of goes starting in Edinburgh. This book is set in Paris. I have an interesting relationship with books set in Paris. Often I find they completely romanticise Paris, which is actually not that nice of a city. There are nicer cities in France, but we'll see how this one goes. Next, Justine sent me a matching book. This is The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. This is a Red Riding Hood retelling. The only other retelling of hers I think I've read is The Lost Boy, which is a Peter Pan retelling that gets really dark. So yes, I'm interested to read this. This is more of a dystopian take on Red Riding Hood, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Next up, I have a book that was sent to me by one of my best friends in the whole world alongside Justine. This is Asher. This is Asher? No, Asher sent me this. Asher sent me a copy of The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is so exciting. I wasn't going to get a copy of this book because I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to read it or not, because I don't think it could live up to The Night Circus. So to be sent a copy by Asher, who was the person who originally recommended The Night Circus to me, was just a lovely full circle moment in our friendship. We don't have to be friends anymore. Bye, Asher. This involves a secret book, secret library? Going on a quest. It's book lovers books, it's all that jazz. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I haven't heard too much about this. I haven't intentionally sought out reviews, so maybe this will completely knock my socks off, who knows? Next up, another gift. This is Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller. This was sent to me by Lovely Moon, whose blog I will link below. This is from the same author as Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen, both of which I really enjoyed. I don't think enough people talk about them anymore, but they are really good fun. How do you kill a god? As her father's chosen heir, 18-year-old Rasmira has trained her whole life to become a warrior and lead her village, but when her coming-of-age trial is sabotaged and she fails the test, her father banishes her to the monster-filled wilderness with an impossible quest. To win back her honour, she must kill the oppressive god who claims tribute from the villages each year, or die trying. This sounds really, really good. What I really enjoy is that I've got a lot of YA, not all YA, but a lot of YA in these books, and clearly I just haven't been buying YA for myself, so it's nice to get a kind of kick back into that genre for the new year. This next book was from my older brother. I got this for Christmas. This was the only book I received for Christmas from my family. This is called Battle Royale by Kushun Takami. This is a new translation by Nathan Collins. This is a Japanese book originally, I believe. Kushun Takami's notorious high-octane thriller is based on an irresistible premise. A class of junior high school students is taken to a deserted island where, as part of a ruthless authoritarian program, they are provided arms and forced to kill one another until only one survivor is left standing. Criticised as violent exploitation when first published in Japan, where it then proceeded to become a runaway bestseller, Battle Royale is a Lord of the Flies for the 21st century, a potent allegory of what it means to be young and barely alive in a dog-eat-dog world, made into a controversial commercial hit movie of the same name, Battle Royale, is already a contemporary Japanese pulp classic, now available in a new English language translation. I don't read a lot of translated fiction, so this will be really interesting. My brother picks things that I would never try, which is what I really love about him. So we'll see how this one goes. Now on to the only book I bought for myself this month. This is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. I picked this up because it was half price and it's the Waterstones exclusive edition, and I have very little self-control. I liked the first book well enough. I wouldn't say I was completely blown away by it, but I think I might try and reread it this year before I read this one. So this isn't a priority on my own TBR, but it's more of just like a nice friendly addition. After battling the impossible, Zeli and Amari have finally succeeded in bringing magic back to the land of Orisha, but the ritual was more powerful than they could have imagined, reigniting the powers of not only the Magi but of the nobles with magic ancestry too. Now Zeli struggles to unite the Magi in an Orisha where the enemy is just as powerful as they are, but with civil war looming on the horizon, Zeli finds herself at a breaking point. She must discover a way to bring the kingdom together or watch as Orisha tears itself apart. Interesting, looking forward to reading this at some point in the near future. There you have it. That's all of the books I hold. 17? Did I say 17? It's 17, probably. I think this is okay. It's a lot to add to my own TBR, and I just haven't been tackling my own TBR in the last kind of 3 months. I've just not had the brain all the time. So it's definitely one of my targets for 2020 is to get my own TBR down just a little bit, mainly because it's not going to fit on my top shelf anymore. And I'm going to have to break out into a whole new shelf, and that'll throw everything else off. Priorities. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And comment below if you've hauled any of these books this month, or with your favourite book that you hauled this month, or what your favourite present that you got for Christmas was. Anything you like, comment below. I'll really appreciate it. You can also subscribe. I mean, you're already here. You watched this far. You may as well subscribe at this point. You can also follow me on all of my socials if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, and I will see you in the next one.